Hello and welcome to the last video of this section. We're going to be going through the individual problem number 2, which has to deal with a square pyramid on top of a rectangular prism. So just like in any other section, I like to start with, or any other composite figure, I like to start with the volume. So that's what I'm going to do up here. So here we go. I have volume. And I'm going to just write out the two different things I need. So I need the volume of the rectangular prism plus the square pyramid. Okay, so the rectangular prism, that's length times width times height. So since this is a square on the bottom, we know that both of these sides are both 48 centimeters, by the way. So we have 18 times 48 times 48. And the next we need the square pyramid, which is 1/3 area of the base times the height. So 1/3 area of the base, which is still that square, which is 48 by 48. And next up, we need the height. And notice we're given the slant height here. That's not what we need for volume. So we need to find this first. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. It looks like we have a nice triangle here. I'm going to pull that out. We have 25 as hypotenuse. Take half of that 48 because it's part of this right here. Half of 48 is 24. And then we're looking for the height. So if I were to start writing this out, we'd have h squared plus 24 squared equals 25 squared. Okay, so whenever I start doing this, I'm going to end up, if I take 25 squared minus, here I'm just going to kind of write this out, if I started moving things around, subtract a 24 squared from each side, I'd get 25 squared minus 24 squared. If I plugged that into my calculator, I would end up with 49 equals h squared. Just kind of another way to work through it. I don't usually do it that way, but it's just another way. I'd get 7. So for my height, I get 7. So over here, multiply, sorry about that. All right, come on. By 7. There we go. So now we can just go ahead and start plugging all of this in and get what we need. So let's see, if we just look at the rectangular prism, we'd get 41,478 plus the square pyramid, which would be 5,376. Add both of those together, we get 46,848. So that is our volume. So 46,848 centimeters cubed. There is our volume. Next up, we need to do surface area, and this is going to be a little bit longer. So remember, we only need the outside faces. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight the one we do not need, which would be this one right here in the middle, where they meet. So we do not need that face, but we can go ahead and figure out what else we do need. We're just going to write all of those down. So for surface area. So let's look at that rectangular prism. So if we look at the front, back, side to side, those are all 48 by 18. So front and back are both 48 by 18s, and so are the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and say all of those sides. I'm just going to call it sides. And we have 4 of those. But if we look at the bottom is a square, which is a 48 by 48. So I'm going to say sides plus the bottom to get the entire, all of the outside faces of this rectangular prism. We only have one of these, so we could write a little one up here just to remind us we only have one. Now let's look at the nice pyramid up here at the top. So looks like we don't need to add on the base, that nice square base, but we do have four triangles that are the sides, and it's kind of hard to see the other two, but since we're at a square, each side of that square has a triangle that is coming up to the apex. So from here, let's just make sure all of these are the same. So it looks like all of the bases are 48, and so all the height should still be 25. All those nice slant heights there. And this is where we're going to use that slant height because that's the height laying on that triangle. So all of these, we have 4 of the same ones. We have triangles. We have 4. Okay, so whenever I look at basically those sides of the rectangular prism, now I'm just going to rewrite all of this, but with the numbers. So if we look at all of those rectangles, we already said those are all of the 18 by 48 rectangles. And we have 4 of those. So I'm going to put the 4 out front. Now the bottom, we only have 1 of these, so we have a 48 by 48 square. Okay, I'll put that in parentheses. Okay, and then for the triangles, we have to take 1/2 base times height. So for a triangle, 1/2 base, which is 48, times height, which is 25. Okay, so we have 4 of those. And now I can go ahead and start working through all of these. So whenever I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and take the 4 times 18 times 48. And I get 3,456. 48 by 48 would be 2,304. And then the triangle over here, the 4 triangles, adding all of those together, would be 2,400. Now all I have to do is add all of these together, and I get 8,160. All right, and that right there is our surface area, so 8,160. Again, I would definitely suggest writing this first step out where you can kind of map out what all you need and then pick the parts you really need. So definitely write out and basically list out everything you need to add together. The only thing I'm missing here on my answer is the centimeters cubed. Hope you did well on this problem. That is the last individual problem of today. I hope that you had fun practicing these. I know these take some practice, so that's why I wanted to give you the time to practice and then go back and check and maybe see them worked through again. So that's all I have. Good luck studying for the test that is coming up next week, and I will see you in another video.